Hawaii, Mr. Kuda for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I first just want to thank you for your decision last year to safely shut down, defuel, and close the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility on the island of Oahu. What you said then continues to be true now. This was the right decision to make for our people, for our environment, public health, and overall national security. I'm also grateful for your continued engagement with and oversight of the department's lines of effort on Red Hill, including your own personal visit during September of 2022 and your recent meeting with senior department leadership on March 16th. That being said, you and I both know there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in Hawaii with regard to Red Hill and rebuilding lost trust, a broken trust with the military and our communities and how this crisis was handled. Part of the challenge is that different organizations are responsible for different lines of effort related to Red Hill. Joint Task Force Red Hill is focused on just the defueling, while Navy Facilities Engineering Command oversees environmental remediation and aquifer restoration. The Navy is largely responsible for facility closure, and separate from all of that, you've got the Defense Health Agency that handles the medical care for impacted individuals. Now, to most Hawaii residents, this is very, very confusing, and quite frankly, this should not fall upon them to have to navigate the complexities of our military bureaucracy when it really comes down to ensuring them transparency and accountability. Our Hawaii Congressional delegation has stood unified in our support for language in last year's NDAA that required the department to identify a single point of contact to oversee and communicate with the public and Congress regarding the status of Red Hill. Mr. Secretary, what is the status of the department's effort to implement this requirement, Section 332, for a single point of contact, and when can I expect to be able to announce this POC and the process to my constituents?
Well, thank you, and thank you for the delegation's continued support throughout all the work that has occurred on this very important issue. What I've asked, and I asked them this months ago, the JTF to do, is to be able to field the calls, the inquiries that are coming in from various sectors, and to be able to make sure that we are directing those calls or facilitating those the people who have questions, facilitating them getting answers to their questions by making sure they get linked up to the right agency. And so that work continues. I think that's the best approach, because if we don't do it that way, then I agree with you, it will continue to be confusing. So.
Thank you. One humble suggestion, considering further empowering the Joint Task Force Red Hill with the responsibility of coordinating overall efforts in regards to Red Hill, especially as you mentioned communications, but also being able to make sure that when citizens and quite frankly community leaders and people in the public have questions, that they can get answers straight from the JTF, because it is very difficult to even follow the chain once you are then handed off to the next entity for assistance. I would also add that one of the big things that has been brought up is the constant rotation of commands. We know that is part of the military structure. However, we are looking for institutional commitment and leadership, and that is something critical that needs to be part of the JTF as well. Want to segue into another topic over our infrastructure. By the end of the decade, we all know here very well that we'll need to renew all of the land leases in Hawaii. We've heard throughout this hearing and out in other hearings how critical these are to our readiness posture in the Indo-Pacific. Yet, we also know that these facilities and infrastructures on these lands are falling apart. In some cases, they are literally putting military and civilian lives at risk and negatively impacting our environment. And I'm not just talking about Red Hill. These are military-wide issues across all of our islands, across my district. This is as much a statement as a question, Mr. Secretary and General Milley. Do you see our old and deteriorating military infrastructure as a liability to our readiness and our posture in the Pacific?
It's absolutely important that we do everything that we can, not only here, but in all corners of our organization, to ensure that we continue to update our infrastructure. You see us dedicating $5.1 billion towards that endeavor in this budget for operational effectiveness, and so we will continue to invest in this going forward. It includes a number of things, you know, housing and so many other things. And to your point, this is critical. So.
And I would just reinforce with the remaining time that I have that if you're serious about these land leases and maintaining presence in Hawaii, then maintaining this infrastructure, investing in it, and actually showing action to our people is absolutely necessary. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications so every time I put out a video, you can know about it. It'll come up in your feed. Hit that like button if you liked it. And be positive. Peace.